Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Clearly Thriving. I'm Allison Clay,
And I'm Siri Harkins,
and we are thriving.
clearly.
Clearly. Siri, what are you drinking today?
Water.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
I have kombucha.
Hmm.
This is the new orange creamsicle, which is the summer flavor for the Health Aid kombucha. And it's so good. It literally tastes exactly like one of those like push pop ice cream things. I'm obsessed with
I'm
it.
gonna just take your word for it.
It's so yummy.
Yeah, Allison's on like a kombucha kick lately, and I will never be on a kombucha kick. So just throwing that out there.
No. Okay, well, I've always liked kombucha, like especially the health aid ones. I feel like those flavors are really good. But TikTok convinced me a while ago, I think I told you that I thought I had high cortisol.
Hmm.
And one of the home remedies for that is more fermented foods. I don't really like most fermented foods, but I do like kombucha, which is basically just fermented tea. So
Sorry, that sounds so gross.
I've been having pretty much a kombucha a day. And I think it has been helping. Like I've been sleeping better. A lot of the symptoms that I had are either gone or not severe. Also, it's like made my skin really glowy, so that's nice.
Nice.
And it's yummy.
Well, good.
Yeah, it's my little treat every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't, my mom asked me, she was like, why do you not just buy them in bulk and then you don't have to go to Target every day? Well, because I like getting out of the house and it's kind of fun to go to Target every day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Funny. Funny, funny.
Yep. This episode might be kind of weird, like vibe-wise, because Siri is dying.
Yes, I have like a really gnarly headache right now, so I'm not feeling great.
But we just gave her some ibuprofen, so hopefully that will help. And then I am coming off of a week of night shoots, so I'm just kind of loopy.
You're loopy and I'm just in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually started to feel like really like it's totally like sinus pressure allergy headache. Yeah, I don't know. But it like I feel it behind my eyes and in here and in my head. Um, and so of course during the last class that I taught today, my patience was so thin. Just because I was like, I have this gnarly headache. And of
Fair.
course my favorite person was in there with me today,
Oh,
being the norm. So
great.
that did not help the headache either.
Great.
Hmm.
No, I think that person would give me a headache just existing.
I know. And apparently this person like was super rude to one of my kids when I don't know, someone else told me.
I believe it.
I was like, wonderful, just
Because that
wonderful.
person has been rude to your kids in
Like
front of you.
constantly. Constantly. This person had like a whole conniption about how at the end of class, by the way, so the kids had already left, had a whole conniption about one of my students and how they were coughing the whole time and someone needs to tell them that that's not appropriate and you should stay home if you're sick. And I'm like, okay, if you noticed a student was feeling unwell, why didn't you send them to the nurse?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
but instead you're gonna bitch and moan to me about it and berate this student. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
I think the thing that irks me the most about this person I've never met, only know through stories, but I feel like that's enough, is that this person is in certain classrooms to help certain students, specific students, and this person knows who they're supposed to be helping, does not,
Actually help them.
yeah, does not actually help them, seems to just make fun of them behind their back, and
Yeah.
then will say rude comments to students that they have no business interacting with.
Yep. Pretty
Like,
much.
it's making that school an emotionally unsafe space.
Uh, it's something.
Yeah.
Anyway, this person is not in my room often, so we'll just
Yeah.
hope they're not there tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
Mhm.
Speaking of school, we chaperoned a field trip last weekend.
Oh yeah, we did.
It was my first time riding on a school bus, although my mother did inform me that I have in fact ridden on a school bus for that field trip. I remember the same one.
Oh,
She was like, I know for a fact you went on that field trip and I know you rode the bus. And I was like, well, I don't remember riding the bus. So
Well, this was you'll remember the
I'll
bus ride.
remember riding the bus. Now I know I've ridden the bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to go see Come From Away at the Pantages.
Which was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Very different from how I remember it. And I remember seeing that show when it came out with the original cast and sobbing like uncontrollably. And I learned that we saw a preview.
Mm.
So
It's been different.
it almost definitely things change because that's kind of the point of previews. But yeah. So
Yeah, well,
I did not sob uncontrollably, but I did cry at a couple points.
yeah, one of my coworkers mentioned that, she had seen it um more recently than you had seen that, obviously,
Mm.
and that there had still been some changes to some of the
Yeah.
songs and just little things. Some things have been cut. Um, like it used to be 2 acts apparently, and
That makes sense.
yeah. So it was just kind of interesting, which is like the fun part about theater.
Yeah.
It changes.
It evolves.
Yes. What a joy.
Good.
Yeah, I liked the choreography. It was very
Yeah.
I was gonna say simple, but that's not what I mean. I mean it was more like the set wasn't complicated.
Yeah.
They used a lot of like chairs, tables, maneuvered them around. The movement wasn't super dance heavy, but it was really effective.
Yeah.
So that was
It
cool.
like really fit the characters and the location.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot, like the choreography and the music reminded me a lot of Once. Um, because the clappable beat was like on the offbeat, and a lot of the
Oh, like the fiddle kind of style.
yeah, and a lot of the dancing was similar.
Hmm.
And then they had the band on stage, which I love when they do that, but Once does that too. But it was like a very similar musical vibe to Once, which I love.
I've never seen Once the musical. I've only seen the movie because the movie came
Yeah.
before the musical.
Yeah.
So I've never seen it as the musical version.
I've never seen the movie version.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, I'm gonna assume it's very different.
I assume so.
Probably very different vibes.
Probably.
So, but yeah,
But
it's a good movie.
I believe it.
I remember I wasn't like super okay, my friend group and I were like kind of obsessed with it for a second in high school, but I wasn't as obsessed because I was mad that it didn't end in like a love story. That was just a spoiler. I'm so sorry. But anyway, that annoyed me. It can't be a spoiler. That movie's so old. If you're mad about me spoiling the movie once for you, get over it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we say that at work sometimes. We'll like reference a really old movie and kind of give a spoiler and be like, sorry if that was a spoiler. That movie's 50 years old. You've had time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sorry if at this point
Not
you
that one
do not know.
but
Yeah. I'm like, if at this point you do not know the twist in The Sixth Sense, I can't even talk to you.
yeah. Unless you are like in high school, then sure. But also,
Yeah.
I had seen it in high school.
But it's an older film now.
Yes, yes, it is.
Like, these are children who were not alive when School of Rock came out.
I said that in the break room the other day, and everyone's face went.
Yeah, I think one of my oldest seniors was born in 2005. School of Rock came out in 2004. Yeah. We're getting into Gen Alpha. Like my ninth graders are at like that tail end of Gen Z, but I think they really, like my ninth graders, I think really fit in more with Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
Like they're different.
Well, that makes sense because I fit more with Gen Z than the other one I'm on the cusp of. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Ugh. They're nutty.
Well, they're, yeah.
The youths.
I was like pretty impressed. Most of them were pretty good on the field trip.
Oh yeah, no, the kids on the field trip are always great.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's one thing the school I work at, like the kids are they're good kids. And that's kind of one of the first questions I get asked, especially like I taught in Minnesota last year. So going from teaching in Minnesota to teaching in California, not just
Mhm.
California, but like
LA.
LA and like the Valley. But that's like, no, like the kids are great.
Yeah.
actually one of my students today because there's a Powder Puff football game
Oh,
coming
that's
up.
fun.
So, and I'm chaperoning. And so I was telling the kids, like, hey, you should come to the Powder Puff football game. It'll be super fun. It's like, I'm chaperoning. I'll be there. And this one girl is like, when are you not chaperoning? I'm like,
Fair.
I am always chaperoning. And another student goes, like, do you get paid extra for chaperoning? Like, no. Oh, so you just like us? And I'm like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I asked you if you got paid to chaperone because I was like, well, you do it so much.
It's just what you do. That's like
Fine.
the fun part about teaching high school is all of like the little extra like high school things.
The activity.
The activities. I don't know. That's the fun part.
That is cute.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, I'm chaperoning that. Like
Great. I like the other day was in our Disney account, like looking because like there's so many dates in the summer still open. Like it's pretty much open season right now. So I was like, should I just go through and make a bunch of reservations? I didn't. Because I thought I should talk to you first. I was like so tempted to make a reservation on your field trip day, and I was like, what if I just show up?
I think you would hate it because it's gonna be so busy and so full of teenagers.
That is true.
We're having so my school's doing this really cool thing. I think a lot of schools do like a Disney grad night,
Mhm.
sort of a field trip or whatever for
Yeah.
seniors. Um, my school was able to get our students all into a leadership assembly at Disney.
Oh, that's
So it's super
cool.
cool. So that's kind of the stipulation. They get to go on this field trip for free. No one has to pay to be at Disneyland. And in exchange, they just have to attend this leadership assembly that's like an hour and a half in the middle of the day.
Fine.
So, I mean, that's like a really big, important thing. But anyway, so that's really cool. So I signed up to chaperone because I knew I could use my pass.
Hmm.
So I'm like, well, I'll be an extra body and then, free up another ticket that you have for
Yeah.
another adult to come too. Just so we have plenty of
People.
grown-ups
Yeah.
at the land. Um, but we're going to have a chaperone meeting pretty soon. And I'm realizing like it's actually I think it'll probably end up being a little bit more chaperone than some of the other things
Really?
because it's kids loose at Disneyland
Disneyland.
and it's seniors and they'll have already graduated.
Yeah.
So anyway, if any of my students are listening to this, you better be good. Otherwise, I will unleash hell on you. And honestly, nobody wants to see that.
No.
Like I say all the time, I'm very chill. I'm very, very chill. Until I am not chill, and then I am very, very, very not chill. And I don't like getting to be that person.
If you're not on the receiving end of it, it's funny.
It can be very scary.
I'm sure it is. I don't think I've ever been on the receiving end of it, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I have borne witness. I've seen people get very squirmy and very uncomfy.
Yeah. It just like obliterate you.
And I just sat there and chuckled to myself.
So anyway, you kids better behave.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine actually, but I did
Yeah.
that it'll just be one of those like,
I
hey,
think
like
it'll be
you
okay.
actually need to follow these rules or else I will walk you to the
Disney
bus.
jail.
To the bus, and we will sit there the entire rest of the day. And I will call your mom.
Amazing. Aren't most of them, because they're like graduating, aren't most of them 18 already?
Yeah.
Okay. You're adults.
Act like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be great. The
I'm
kids
sure
are
they'll
really
be fine.
they're good kids.
Great.
Foul languaged children, but they're good kids.
See, I think anytime I'm around children, I never notice when they say things they're not supposed to. And this is probably another reason I shouldn't have children, but I'm like, well, at least you used it correctly. Which is kind of what my parents said to me when I was 7. I swore accidentally. I didn't know it was a swear word. And my mom, to this day, when she tells the story, she's like, I didn't know whether to be horrified or just impressed that you used it correctly. And like, if I had a child, I wouldn't be filtering myself around this kid. So I probably would have a child that could swear correctly.
Yeah. Although it's kind of funny because we do know a couple of people that swear in front of like their
Yeah.
kids, and their kids are not swearers,
Well,
but it's a big part about how my students speak with each other.
yeah.
Actually, one group I was in like professional development was kind of talking about how it sort of is a form of code switching
Hmm.
because it's like a language, like that students can use with each other that adults at the school can't.
Yeah.
Like I can't talk with them like that. I
Yeah.
have to filter myself. It's a little different. Um, so it's sort of
Yeah.
yeah, their way of speaking. And I don't know, there's nothing wrong with that in my eyes.
No.
So long as you are behaving.
So long as you're not being a dick.
Yeah, don't be an asshole and be school appropriate.
Yeah.
As I'm like not being school appropriate on this whole podcast, but
You're not at school.
I'm not at school.
And I think the funniest thing I've ever seen, not really, but like in regards to this current topic of conversation, is when Jasenia and I had season tickets to the Pantages and we took Estella with us a
Mm.
lot. And they swear in front of Estella, obviously, but Estella was like 10 or 11 when this happened. And Jasenia said something, and then Estella reacted, and their mom was like, Estella. And Estella was like, what? She's being a total bitch. And just like kept the same. She would have said it, but she spelled it. And it was just like the intonation, the delivery. I was like,
Yeah.
snaps for you.
Yes. it is what it is.
It is. At least she spelled it. My kid probably would have just said it.
It depends.
I don't know.
It depends.
Yeah, that's the reason I shouldn't be a parent.
I don't think that's a desire you have anyway.
No. The conversation came up at work because I had basically a full week of night shoots. And when you have night shoots, you get real close with people because those 3 a.m.
It's
conversations
trauma bonding.
are happening every day. So like someone was like, you really don't want children? Like you'd be such a good mom. And I was like, I don't even like kids.
You're like, you don't know me very well at all.
was like-
Despite these heart to hearts we're having.
I was like, I've known you 3 days. I don't think that's enough for you to say that I should spawn a human. Like, no, I don't want children. Sorry. And I was like, well, if I accidentally have one, I'll give it to you. And they were like, oh.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I don't plan to. No, nah. I'm good.
Nope.
Uh-uh.
I don't even know. Like none of our friends are really having kids right now.
No.
Some of us are at those
That's
milestone
okay.
ages where that could be a possibility, but it's just not happening.
And that is okay.
You know what? I live alone.
Mhm.
And I was having this conversation with some of our friends recently about how, okay, women were not allowed to have their own credit cards until 1974.
Yep.
So, just kind of historically, in my personal family's lineage, I am the first woman who has been able to live on my own.
Yeah.
Like, my mom got married and then lived with my dad.
Mhm.
Her mom got married and then lived with my grandpa. My dad, like his parents, kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
right? It just, that was sort of, women didn't live alone. Although now that
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking about this, I just realized I had a great aunt who lived on her own. But I'm trying to think of if that was an always thing or how that worked because she was never married. I didn't think about that.
Interesting.
My great aunt Ruth. Yeah, she had a prosthetic leg.
Great.
So when I was little, I liked to go and knock on her leg. I don't know, it's just like a funny thing we did. But she had this cute little house. It was just like this teeny little 1-bedroom house that she lived in, and until she was unable to be independent. Yeah, because we'd go visit her. But she had this game called Shut the Box. Have you ever played Shut the Box?
No.
Okay, so it's like a box,
Great.
you know,
Makes sense.
you get a set of dice, and then the box has these little numbers in it, and you flip them like you flip them all up, so it's numbers 1 through 9, and then you roll the dice, and basically you put down the numbers that like add up to that number. So if you roll like um a 3 and a 2, you could put down a 5, or you could put down the 3 and 2, or a 1 and a 4, whatever. And then you try to like just get all of the numbers down based on the numbers
Okay.
you roll on the dice. It's a fun game, but my great aunt Ruth had shut the box, and I've been thinking about it recently and how much I loved playing that game when we were visiting her at her tiny little 1-bedroom house. Um, and I found a version of it in the Bullseye section at Target the other day for $5. So I bought it, and I've been playing it almost every night while I'm watching TV.
I love that for you.
Watching TV in my apartment that I live in by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's mom married my grandpa. They got married the day after she turned 18, which was in December. So I don't think she'd graduated high school yet.
That feels really gross and wrong.
They're pretty much the same age. But yeah, I mean, nowadays it would be.
As my like ninth graders really hate Romeo and Juliet because Juliet was fucking 13.
Yeah.
She was a child bride.
Yeah. But that was also in the days where you died by the time you were 30. So she was basically having a midlife crisis. Um, anyway, but so my aunt got married when she was 18 and had kids immediately, but my mom did not. My mom and my dad didn't get married. I think my mom was 34 when they got married, which like in the 90s when they were getting married,
That's ancient.
that was older. And my mom, when she was my age, she had pretty much decided because before she met my dad, she had 4 other guys propose to her and she said no to all of them. Can you imagine saying no? First of all, being proposed to 4 times, but having to say no 4 times.
Oh my gosh.
So like good for my mom for not settling, I guess. Um, but when she was my age, she had her own apartment, had her job. Obviously, she was a teacher, and was like in the process of starting to buy herself a house. And she had pretty much decided that she was just going to adopt children and do the damn thing herself. And then she met my dad pretty quickly after she made that decision.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm not the first, but I probably will be the first in my family to not ever get married that I know of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unclear.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about my great aunt Ruth. It's been a while. She died when I was in 10th grade.
Okay.
She was older than my grandpa. And my grandpa was born in 1921. He's obviously no longer living.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw it is
Yeah.
2024. This man has been gone a
I mean,
while.
that would be impressive.
Yeah. No, he lived a long life, like where it was yeah.
I need to find out how old my great grandma was when she died because my great grandma, my mom's grandma, she was born in 1900. Like, nice round year. And then my younger cousins were both born in 2000. So everyone was always like, oh, they're exactly 100 years apart. Um, cool, whatever. But my grandma, she was not alive when I was born, and she very well could have been.
Yeah, because I have a great aunt who was born in 1905.
Yeah.
She lived to be 106.
I have a great uncle that lived to be like 101. That's who Alex is named after.
Wow.
Um, yeah, but I know that this great grandma, she's the one that I supposedly look like.
Hmm.
And she's the only one to have blue eyes, blonde hair. They say she had curls. I don't see them in pictures because her hair is always in a bun.
So probably.
Yeah, that sounds like the 1900s of it all. Um, but I know she had a stroke at one point, and I know when my mom was in high school, she had to like go move her around so she wouldn't get bed sores and stuff.
Oh, like she was paralyzed
I don't think she was paralyzed, but I know she was bedridden for a
for a little
while.
bit. Okay.
Um, and she's actually the reason my grandparents, my mom's parents, for a while owned and operated a nursing home.
Wow.
Yeah, and they did that so that they could trust where that great grandma was, which is pretty cool because neither of them really had that wasn't in their job field.
Yeah.
Like my grandpa was a pastor. Anyway, brief history of our families.
Yeah, welcome to the
Welcome to
history.
Looney Tunes.
The history you never asked for. I know my head honestly still hurts, and you can't fix a week of
No.
night shoots. Um,
Do you want another ibuprofen?
no, I
Okay.
think it'll be fine. It's just
I wrapped at 2 a.m. I was home and in bed by 3. I wasn't asleep by 3, of course, but I was like in bed by 3. And then I had therapy at 11:30 this morning, um, which wasn't the best thought out for me.
oh, I thought you were gonna like talk about how therapy wasn't good.
Oh no, therapy was fine. But I wish that it had been later. Because when my alarms went off at 11, I was like, I had a hard time waking up. I almost slept through my alarms.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but
I finished watching Manifest.
good, so I can start it now.
Yeah, so I've been watching Manifest, which is it's a show on Netflix. It's 4 seasons. So easy to get through.
Great.
It's great. I mean, like any show, it has like its moments where you're like, what the fuck were the writers doing? Or like when someone like clearly tried to do something different with the directing style, and you're like, that is
Yeah.
quite a departure from the initial feeling, but
Wonderful
okay.
departure from the original source material.
Thank you. That is exactly what I was
Yep.
referencing. They also have a couple of parts where they change actors.
Oh, interesting.
Not anything like, okay, like there's a character, like a kid character.
I was gonna ask if
It was a kid. So, I mean,
well, that makes sense because like real time was progressing faster than the
yeah,
timeline, right?
things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there was like a kid change mid-season though.
Oh, weird.
So that was the weird thing. But
Maybe the kid quit.
I think there was a break in filming in the middle of that season because it has that feeling and they make the time progress like a couple of months. So I'm like,
Okay.
but the kid showed up and it was a different actress and I was like, who the fuck is that? Um anyway, it was I mean, so there's a
Yeah.
little bit you have to do the suspense of belief a bit. And also, I don't know if I just am so nitpicky about some of the things, like when it has scenes where it goes like back in time to a part that like you saw in a prior season and you just see the bad wigs they use to try to match the haircuts and I'm like,
Great.
really?
Great.
They also
Great.
did something, okay, this is like, okay, this is gonna launch into something slightly different. Welcome to chaos. Okay, so there's a scene, right? And so they go back to like 5 years prior or whatever. But it is also on a day that happened in season 1. And they have a kid actor. So obviously the kid has aged. So they can't just like bring the kid back to do this scene work. And so in like the shots, it's like the back of this kid's head. And I'm like, well, that's obviously a photo double. And then, but they superimposed, there were some shots where it is the kid's face, but it's like, it's AI to make this kid's face happen. And it appears just like the original. And it's like they like, I don't know, it looked kind of cool. Like
So it wasn't cringy.
no, it wasn't done.
Okay.
It wasn't done in like a cringy way, but it was just one of those like things where my question is, do we feel like this is an ethical use of AI? Did this actor get paid as,
Principal.
yeah, as a principal actor like he was for that?
From how I understand it, yes. Because if you're performing the scene, even if they aren't going to use your face, yes.
Well, because this was prior to.
But that's how it was when I did Wine Country too, because they were going to do that had they used those scenes.
Yeah.
And also for Stranger Things, when they in the last season and they're like doing Elle's origin story, the actor that played young Elle, they like used Millie Bobby Brown's face with like a kid's body, and that kid is credited and was paid. But that kid is the kid that played young McKenna Grace in A Friend of the Family, like a year later, and she's very good.
Nice.
So But yeah, I think that he would have been.
Yeah. But
I
then
think the
it's
kid
like,
would
why
have
didn't they
paid.
do that to the sister? Because they just had a full-on different actress for the sister.
I don't know. I got
But I guess
nothing.
she wasn't as like prominent, like that
Mm.
actress as the young version. So I'm like,
Is the same, or was this same kid still on the show at the time? The Would they have been able to superimpose her face? Was she still available to them?
probably not. I don't
I
know.
think that's probably why.
Yeah. But she would have been too old. She would have aged too much to play the kid anyway.
Well, yeah,
But
never mind.
because that was the thing with like the kid, he aged too much, so they had to use like old
Yeah.
footage. Yeah. I am so fucking glad I don't work in payroll
Listen.
and like the production. I don't want to be the production coordinator who has to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I say this as I'm like, fuck, if I'm running theater, I have to figure out rehearsal
Yeah,
schedules.
yep,
I'll have to be a
you're
little.
gonna be a coordinator.
Ugh.
One day, so Monday night / into Tuesday morning, I wrapped at like midnight, and then my prelim call time was noon. Yeah, which is fine. But then when I got home, after I got out of the shower, I had an email being like, your call's been pulled up to 10 a.m. I was livid. I had an email drafted to Brett at SAG because that's not SAG turnaround.
Yeah.
I was livid because I was like, that is a hefty fine. I will be paid it. But I didn't send it because I was like, I have a feeling it's going to get pushed, and it got pushed. So they did not violate my turnaround, but I was ready. I was like, if this doesn't change, I will be paid.
Oh my gosh. I just keep on thinking about when I was working on Kidding and we had a couple of almost 16-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
We never hit 16 because I was always sitting there and I'm like, once we hit that 14-hour mark, I'm just like, let's keep going.
Like, I'm just here to be paid.
I'm like, I can sit here all
Yeah.
night. Can sit here all night. If you don't know, when you hit 16 hours on a set day, that's called golden hour, or golden
It's a
time.
beautiful
A
thing.
beautiful thing where your daily rate, because you get paid like the day rate, and when I say the day rate, you can work 2 hours and still get paid
Yeah.
that like amount, and then it's still you get overtime
After
past
8 hours.
8 hours. And it's wonderful, and it just like incrementally increases. So when you hit 16, the incremental increase there makes your day rate your hourly rate. So that's why
Yeah.
it's like if once you are getting close to 16, it's just like take
It's
your
fine.
time. Cool, fine.
Yeah.
Take your time.
I think I've only actually hit it 3 times,
I never have.
but it's great when it happens. There was, so that movie I did when I was in college that shot in Louisiana, where I had the 20-hour day. I think I've told you about it.
Sure. No, you've never have.
Okay. I feel like I talk about it too much. I had a 20-hour day on a movie once, but
No.
in Louisiana, it's a right to work state. So even if you're union, you're not working under a union contract. So 16 hours, the golden hour did not apply, and they took full advantage of that.
That's so shady.
Yep. Anyway,
Yeah.
don't work in Louisiana if you're union.
So yeah, Kidding. We just had a couple of those really late nights, and I just remember whenever it would hit that certain timeline, there was always someone that had to put pressure on the producers to be like, you need to send out an email and let people know that you'll book a hotel room for them.
Mhm.
There were some scary
Yeah,
nights. We did have one of the makeup people get in a car accident.
that is so common. Literally this week, someone from the crew of 911 was in a car accident on a way home after a 14-hour day, and they did not survive.
Yeah. It happens a lot, and
It
I don't think
happens pretty
people
often.
care about it enough. But
Yeah.
like when you're working those long hours like that, it's
Well, there have been studies, I talked about it on set the other day. There have been studies that have shown that sleep deprivation tests on the road the same as alcohol. So, like, you can be sleep drunk is a thing. Like, there's a point where you are so tired that you're basically inebriated.
yeah. I think my saving grace for Kidding was that I didn't have a car
Yeah.
second season.
Yeah.
So I was taking an Uber home. Like if it was late, I was taking an Uber.
Yeah.
So, and I actually had some people tell me that I should have
Sent that to production. Yeah.
had them pay it. But I was just kind of like, this is just what I'm
Whatever.
doing instead of having a
Yeah.
car right now.
Yeah.
It was whatever.
Yes. Yeah, it's
But I was like, I'm
really,
good. I like fell asleep in the car. I'm like, this
yeah,
is fine.
yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, that is the thing. This morning, I say this morning instead of last night because it was in fact this morning. That's kind of how we were. We were just sitting there. Cause like I did not work. Like I was not needed after 9 p.m. I just sat in my chair
Oh, ew.
waiting. It was like a just in case type situation. And my whole group that I had been hanging out with for the week, we all were in that situation because they were like shooting a part of the room we were not in.
But yeah,
So
you
it
had
was
to be there
very
just in
much
case
just in
something.
case. And we knew we weren't going to be used because they had like props had come by and collected things. Hair came by and like took out our hair accessories. And we were like, everyone knows we're not being used, but no one was complaining because at
Yeah,
that point we were deep in double time.
which is lovely.
Yeah. And I need that insurance time. So,
Yep.
yep.
Oh yeah, that's a shitty thing about the union.
Yeah. I like really got into it last night. Like I was lit.
It's one thing the teachers union has done some good shit
Yes.
because I just have health insurance as a
That's
teacher.
yeah.
And you know what? I don't have to pay for it.
I need to figure out how to just become your dependent.
No.
And I can have free healthcare for all.
Well, I think if I have a dependent, it's no longer free.
Wow, rude.
I'm not really sure because it doesn't really apply to my situation right now. I'm just like, oh, cool, I have health insurance. Have I used it? Not a once, but it's there.
Must be nice.
I don't even know where the doctor is that I can use.
There was a guy last night when we were talking about insurance who is also SAG, obviously. And he was like, yeah, I don't qualify ever. And he was like, so I just go through Cover California and I have a plan that's like $15 a month. And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
what kind of
What?
plan is that? And he was like, well, it's when we like
Shitty.
have to, yeah, you have to get a physical every year and like be approved for it. It's like, he's like, and because I'm like young and relatively healthy and like I don't have any problems, I was like, okay, okay, must be nice. So that's why. And I was like, well, the SAG plan is 125 a month but it covers pretty much everything I need
Yeah.
except for my most expensive medication
That's
that,
actually a really good price.
yeah, it's not a bad price. It covers a lot. Um, it does have kind of a high deductible,
Hmm.
but better than the year that I was on Medi-Cal, so
Yeah.
that sucked. Sucked. Yeah, last night I like made a list of the people that I can email to be like, I need insurance days.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. But literally right when you were walking in the door, I booked a fitting for a show. I have a fitting tomorrow for a show filming Monday, and then I already had another day next week anyway.
Nice.
But tomorrow I'm supposed to be at my other job at 2 p.m., so I'm hoping my fitting's in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll see how that works out.
Oh my gosh. I just realized it would be really nice if when school is done, I could book some
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Ugh, just
be nice.
fill in a little bit.
Yeah.
Watch the only time I'll get a veil checks is when I'm in Minnesota.
That is kind of how it goes sometimes,
Yeah,
but
it's fine. It'll be fine. Oh shit. I need to put this on my schedule so I don't forget to do it.
I wanted a girl Barbie, but it's fine. Um,
I need to write I need to write a speech for a senior from the dance studio last year.
oh,
I'm like not saying it. The studio owner will say it for her, but
yeah,
I'm like, I gotta write that. I wrote so many senior letters last week.
I believe it. Yeah, I didn't.
That would be a little weird.
I know no seniors. Oh, that's a lie. I think one of my cousins is a senior this year. I don't really know. Clearly, I'm not close to my cousins.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of my cousin Leo. I just got a grad party invite for him. He's a senior. I didn't even think about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
Well,
my littlest of cousins. We're not that little.
no.
We're no longer little.
Yeah. I'm little.
Sure.
I feel little.
Think we all do. I think that never goes away.
I'm a baby.
That might go away.
I'm just a baby.
No. You have children.
I do have children. For children.
Yes.
To clarify.
Like
Dude.
Lila is the baby.
Yes.
Right, Lila.
Lila. So I've been having these night shoots. And since I've been having these night shoots, which I'm done now, she's peed in the house twice. Like while I'm here, like not while I'm
Oh.
gone.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think she's lashing out at me for being gone.
That sounds about right. She's learned something from Panini.
And I was like, fucking excuse you. Like once was just like on the floor, so that's fine. But then once was like a little spot on my bed, and I was like, no.
She called Panini and was like, "What do I do?"
Probably.
She
I
thinks,
think
like,
she was
here's what you
mad that
do.
I wasn't there to cuddle her all night.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I came home to it. It would happen like while I was home.
Yeah, that sounds like every dog I've ever had. They're like, "You were gone. Let me pee on the floor right in front of you
Yeah.
so you see it."
But Lila, I mean, normally she refuses to pee in the house. Like even if I leave a pee pad out for her, she normally won't use it.
Yeah.
Like she will wait until I'm home. And it's never been a lot. So like I know it's intentional, and it's always like after we've been out pretty recently, and I'm like, really? Really?
If it becomes too much of a problem, then I would be concerned that your dog has become
Diabetic?
diabetic. I was like, you know where this is
Yeah.
going.
No, I don't think she is. She's
No.
fine. I think she just wants attention,
Yeah,
and
no,
she's
you've
mad
just
that I
been you've just
wasn't
been too
here.
busy working, and she's like, I need attention.
She's like, we cuddle at night. That's what we do. She's like, you don't work at night. You're here at night.
Yes.
Right, Layla? She's like, yeah. No more night shoots for a while.
You know, thank
I really
you.
can't even promise that.
No, because if you get offered work, you
Yeah, I'm
gotta take it.
gonna take it.
Right, Lila?
Yeah. Normally I'm not a night shoot person. Yesterday was a cattle call.
Ooh,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yesterday we had over 600 background.
I'm sorry, what the fuck?
Luckily I was not with them at all.
Oh,
But
600?
yeah.
Were you feeling like an audit, like
Yep.
an arena or something?
No, so the whole thing that we were filming this whole week is like a stage production. And I was on stage, obviously. And then they filmed pretty much everything except where they would have seen the audience. So they did all of that.
Yes.
Hmm.
Gross.
Which was nice because I was kept out of the chaos pretty much the entire day. And that's why I didn't have a ton to do yesterday because they had already shot all of our stuff. And we were just there for like, in case they would see a glimpse of the stage. Which only happened twice. I think I only worked twice yesterday. I think I worked for a total of 40 minutes yesterday. Because basically they had 4 days worth of stuff that they just needed the audience
Yeah, the reaction and
parts
stuff.
of. So they like blew through it pretty quickly. But it was a long day.
It's just a lot of people.
Yeah, they had a lot to get through because it took 4 days to film our part of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was something. Normally I don't do that either, but I need insurance days, and so I said, okay, it's fine.
No.
It's fine. It could have been so much worse. I was not very optimistic going into yesterday, but it literally was the best it possibly could have been. They kept us separate. I did not really interact with that at all. So that was fine. It was fine. Just a long night.
Dude, someone gave my ninth graders plastic buckets and then sent them to class. They went to an assembly and they were all given a compost bucket to take home. But that happened right before they all had to be in my class. So then I had all these children
With buckets.
hanging these buckets around. I had to be like, okay, you need to put that bucket somewhere out of the way so we're not stepping on them, tripping on them, hitting them with, gosh, I don't even know. I'm like the things I did not think I had to be
Yeah.
prepared for today. Like, all right, everybody, put your buckets somewhere. Just don't hit each other with them.
Your bucket is not a weapon. Yeah.
Chaos.
Right. Well, tonight we're going to El Tejano with Reza's mom and Reza. Other people will be there, but his mom will be there. That'll be fun.
Yes, I'm starving, so that's really all I
Same.
care about right now.
I haven't eaten today.
Oh no.
I've been waiting. Well, for one, I haven't really been hungry, but I didn't want to like eat and then not be able to eat at El Tejano. So I've been waiting. But we're gonna have a little bit of time between this and that, and gonna go to the pharmacy and pick up my anti-depression meds.
Good. All right, and that's our note on mental health awareness.
Mental health is important and go to therapy. Oh my gosh, my therapy appointment was supposed to be on Thursday of last week. Um, which wound up being the first day that I was needed on set for this.
Hmm.
And so I messaged my therapist and I was like, hey, I am gonna have to not be there because I have to work. And I was like, do you have anything like the next day? And this appointment that I had this morning was her next open.
Mm,
And I ran out of my anxiety pills on Friday.
wonderful.
So luckily I haven't sorry, I haven't had any like it's been okay. But I'm like, I'm gonna need that.
Yes. Sorry, completely unrelated, but I just remembered, there's like something shooting at this gas
Yes,
station.
they are currently filming on the corner of my street. They like brought a thing by on Sunday
Oh, the
for
thing.
us to sign
Yeah.
saying that we were aware it was happening. I don't know if we did or not because I'm barely conscious. Um, yeah, and I'd forgotten about it until today when I went to Target to get my kombucha.
Well, that's when you need to call them and be like, hey, do you need a location for Crafty? You can use my driveway. Just pay us.
That's true. That's a good idea.
Although you're not the homeowner, so.
Well, that's still a good idea.
I saw the thing filming and because they had the massive lights set up already.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, there's gonna be no parking. And I was really lucky that there was. They really
Yeah.
only have a couple of those
There's
trucks
only
there.
a couple trucks on this street. They have a pretty big yard around the
Mm.
corner that they're using for a holding. And there's like 3 or 4 tents over there, and I'm like, hmm.
I was gonna be like, do you need someone briefly? Because I'm dressed in nothing name brand. And I will do a walkthrough happily for $200.
Yeah, same, me too. An insurance day sounds great. Hi. I can walk to set.
Like, I don't need that.
No, I don't know if they told us what they were filming. I don't remember. I didn't really read the note.
Ah, yeah.
When I was driving by, I did look. I was like, do I know anyone? I don't think I did.
I wasn't paying that close of attention because I was more just like, what an inconvenience.
Well, I passed it twice. So I passed it on my way to Target and then I passed it on my way home from Target. So on the way home, I was like, do I know anyone? And I didn't see anybody I knew. But that doesn't mean there's not anybody there that I know.
Yeah,
They could have been hiding.
it is a small world out here.
It really is. Like yesterday, because of all of the people, they brought in a ton of additional ADs.
Mm.
2 of them were from clauses.
Oh,
And one of them was like our first AD for a good part of last season. And I was like, Libby, hi. And she was like, oh, hi. And I was like, they said you were coming. And I was so excited. And we were talking. And she's like, well, how have you been doing? And I was like, well, I need insurance days, which is why I'm here. And she was like, yeah, me too. She was like, I haven't done additional work. I think my last additional day was 14 years ago.
oh my god.
And I was like, that sounds about right. Because you know what else
Every-
was about
everyone-
14 years ago? The last strike.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say everyone's really struggling.
Yeah.
Like nothing has come back since the strike, and
No.
it's
It is starting to pick up a little bit, I think, because so what I had been hearing was that the AMPTP decided, a lot of the production companies decided not to bring back shows or not to proceed with production for things that were in pre-production because the SAG and WGA strikes went on for so long. So that when those were finally resolved, it was basically right around the corner from when they were going to start IATSE negotiations. And so they didn't want to have to start things that they couldn't finish. But from what I've been hearing, the IATSE negotiations seem to be going pretty well. And so I think they are starting to trickle things in again because I saw 4 breakdowns today from a company that used to post like 12 times a day and has not posted in months. And I saw 4 today from them.
nice.
So I was like,
Wonderful.
yeah, hopefully it's coming back. Yeah, I think after all of that, I think I have 80 days left that I need to get before October 1st.
Oh, okay. Well, that
It's
sounds more doable. I was like,
it's not
what?
it's not gonna happen. I would have to do 17 days a month, which is about 4 days a week.
Hmm.
It's not gonna happen. I'm I'm trying hard not to stress about it yet. But also, so there's different qualification periods for SAG insurance, and for the people whose qualification is January 1st to January 1st, they issued them a 6-month extension. But now there are people who have June 1st to June 1st, and I haven't heard anything about them getting an extension.
Hmm.
And mine is October 1st to October 1st. So technically mine is like one of the later ones in the year, but I still missed 5 months of my qualification period because of the strike, which is basically half a year. So I'm hoping they'll just be nice and give everyone that. That would be
Yeah.
the morally correct thing to do. But also during 2020, during a global pandemic, instead of making it easier for their members to qualify for healthcare, they made it harder.
Yeah, during a medical,
A medical crisis,
yeah.
a global medical crisis. So I don't have a ton of faith, but I'm trying real hard to not stress about it too much. It's not going great, but here we are.
Yeah, I remember when I joined SAG, I was really hoping for good things that a union can do for its people, and it just has not delivered since I've
Yeah.
been in it.
SAG is the only union in the United States that does not automatically provide benefits for its members. It's
Yeah.
also the only union in the United States that does not actively try to find work for its members.
Mm.
But they get away with it because they're technically a
A
guild.
guild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't protect us. They make it harder every year for us to get health coverage. We're royally fucked over every contract negotiation. I tell everyone I can not to join.
No,
But
don't join unless you
also,
have to.
if I don't qualify for my healthcare this year, this will be the first year in my entire life that I don't, except for 2020.
Hmm.
And I really want to be like, what about all those years I didn't use it when I was still on my parents' insurance? Can I like phone in one of those? Like I qualified for like 6 years that I didn't use.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like that's going to bring us to the end of this lovely episode of Clearly Thriving.
My head still hurts.
Great, we'll get you more ibuprofen. I'm Allison Clay.
I'm Siri Harkins.
We're thriving.
Clearly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.